They're saying I do on this season's Bachelor in Paradise, and here are the newlyweds, Chris and Krystal.
What's going on?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How's married life?
Honestly, it's been awesome.
It's been a lot of great breakthroughs so far since we've been married. Yeah, it's really heightened the level of our relationship. It's crazy.
So you're living your life in private now, for the most part. I mean,
I don't know if anything's private, too
But
private.
the cameras aren't always going,
Oh,
like
yeah.
they were.
I mean, that's a huge difference, too, because, we can now, just enjoy the easy things that we didn't really get to do in Paradise.
Right.
The easy dates,
Yeah.
the easy conversations. We did all the hard stuff in Paradise. So once we got out, we're like, all right, we got to just go to the park for a walk and go get a smoothie, do normal things.
And I think for us, since being married, we've been working a lot individually on ourselves just so that we can really show up and be really strong for each other in this marriage.
Right.
And so a lot of that has been off camera. And I feel like we've been living a little off social media in order to do that work. So it's been fun having the wedding air, and we're kind of reemerging out of the darkness.
right back into
It's like
We're
Groundhog's
here.
Day. It's you come out like that once a year. I feel like this is that once a year that we're coming out. So I'm excited.
So what was
great.
it like having your wedding with, it was almost like a reunion, I would imagine. Of
Yeah, it
sorts.
definitely was.
Yeah, there were a lot of cast members there, new and old, which the new we really weren't expecting at first, but then they just brought everyone from Paradise into the actual reception and the cocktail hour and stuff. But to have our friends and family there and for them to see kind of what it's like to be on the show with a bunch of cameras was really crazy to them, because they now can feel how we feel, and their perception completely turned into understanding where we come from when we express to them how it's like being on camera.
Yeah, I would say that was what I think we were most excited about, was because unless you go through the process, people don't really know what it's like.
Yeah.
And so to have our most intimate, family and friends get to experience that, they were just like, wow, we get it. We get the anxiety of having a microphone on at all times and cameras around you. And so that was really special to be able to share that. And I would say that's one of my favorite things from the wedding.
Let's talk about the wedding.
Yeah.
Okay. So your first thoughts when you saw her walk down the aisle?
There was tears. I was just shocked because I had already known the anticipation was so strong.
Yeah.
I went with her to the fittings, but I couldn't see anything, so I was in another room, and so
I
it was hidden.
wanted him to see my dress. I was like, he's really good with style. I really want your opinion. And
I'm
he's
like,
like,
I can't
no,
do
I
that.
can't see. I was like, please, I don't have anyone else here.
So I knew that she tried on 26 dresses. And,
I did.
And so
26 dresses.
Did you go with the first one you tried on?
Actually, almost. Yeah, the same designer.
That's always how it works.
The same designer.
So the curtains open, and I was in shock because I'm feeling all these emotions, and I feel like I wanted to pass out. I'm feeling emotional. I'm feeling happy. And it's all these emotions at once was very overwhelming.
Yeah.
But it was just beautiful, and it was it was her moment, and I was happy to see her live that moment and her being happy and looking incredible down the aisle. So it was crazy. It was a surreal feeling because we both were under the impression when we were going to Paradise originally that we weren't going to get married. We were kind of both against it.
Before going into
Before
Paradise.
actually
going.
We weren't looking for a relationship.
And being here a year later and,
And getting married.
finally getting married, it's wow, just a year and a little bit over ago, I had no desire to get married. And now I have a beautiful wife and a great partner by my side. So,
Is there anything that happened with the wedding that we won't see?
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually leading into this moment. So right before I walked down the aisle, the whole bridal party had gone. This was about to be the curtain reveal.
Right.
And then here's the bride, and I do my walk. All of a sudden, I'm like, what's going on? This is just taking a long time. I'm standing there, waiting for, at any moment for the curtain to open. 7 minutes go by. 7 minutes go by. He forgot to get mic'd.
Oh, no.
So he was standing on there.
Well, I didn't
without
forget to
a
get mic'd. It
microphone.
just so happened to be that they took off my mic, and then once we got to the venue, no one remembered to put the mic back on. So I'm standing there at the altar, and the audio guy comes out of nowhere, and he's like, Chris, do a sound check. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I was like, wow, I don't even have a mic on. He goes, what? They pulled
You
me
were
off
that
stage.
in the moment. See?
Yeah, they pulled me off stage. I go behind.
Exactly, yeah.
And then we got Matt. We had a guest guitarist or singer, Matt Style.
Right.
He starts playing again and trying to make sure everyone's still. Then she's hearing people laughing, so she has
I
no
have
idea.
no idea. I'm like, do people think I'm the runaway bride? I'm like, because all this commotion's
you're,
going
like, nervous
on.
laughter, like, what's going on?
And I
Yeah.
had no idea. But actually, in those 7 minutes leading up, like Krystal said, I was feeling, I was like excited and overwhelmed and really hungry because I've been kind of fasting all day and just needed like water. And standing there for like 7 minutes, I'm just like holding my bouquet, and I just like closed my eyes and I just said like 12 prayers and got just like so grounded and centered. And so when that curtain did open, just this waft of like calmness like poured over me, and I felt throughout this entire journey of us even planning the wedding, I was the calmest I'd been, and I was able just to like surrender into it and just be so present and love and embrace that moment.
Yeah.
So it was really special.
It was
so it was
weird
all
how
meant to
calm
be.
we were throughout that entire weekend. It was just very strange.
Well, not the weekend, that moment.
Well, okay. I mean, yeah, that moment. That moment, yeah.
I was a little stressed.
Yeah.
This is Bachelor in Paradise. There had to have been some drama.
Yeah, there was definitely some elements of drama. Particularly the first that comes to my mind is JPJ and Derek getting into, I guess JPJ confronting Derek at the wedding.
I think John Paul Jones owes my wife an apology, if we're going to be honest, just frankly speaking. I think I'm interested to see what people think of John Paul Jones after this episode, because he comes off very narcissistic, very aggressive, angry, and it's a completely different side that a lot of people haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Which is really a red flag, essentially, because this built-up has been held in, and so it'll make you question: is this who someone really is? And he attacks Derek for no reason at our wedding, like right after,
really,
right in front of my mom. So it was like kind of awkward, especially because my family was like, "What is going on? This doesn't make sense." So
everyone was fully aware of how upset and angry he was,
screaming,
and it definitely changed the tone of the wedding.
Yeah.
I would say when you have like one of those like guests that you're like, shouldn't have invited.
Well, we had a big party after the wedding, and he wasn't invited. So
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
yeah.
So this was during the wedding that all this played out.
It might be his last wedding that he ever goes to. I wouldn't be surprised. But then we also had, my boy Clay. He's a really good friend of mine, one of my best friends, and Angela, who's another good friend of mine.
Who was my bridesmaid.
Your
And so we were
bridesmaid,
definitely
This was
anticipating.
interesting.
So I was I would say, a little hesitant. I talked to Angela because I go, I really want you to be in my wedding because you were there for when Chris and I first met and our whole relationship, and we're both close with her.
Right.
So we wanted her to represent Paradise for us in our wedding and our bridal party. And I was really nervous about Clay being there, and we'd heard that he was kind of dating someone. And so we were just nervous to see how that kind of played out. And there definitely was.
Well, Clay was going to be a groomsman, so I already had to cut the X on that.
That would have enhanced the awkwardness.
Then before the wedding, I'm like, I think we should X out Angela.
Yeah.
I'm like, because this is just probably not
We were
going
just
to work
getting really
out well.
nervous about
And we definitely were foreseeing the future, and we were right. Angela, she looked beautiful. She had like a weight loss redemption. She really put it together for the wedding, and Clay was definitely a little shook.
So Angela's looking better than ever, and Clay
she looked great.
So they have a talk. Obviously, Nicole is upset, and as she should, but Nicole was confident. I mean, she looked beautiful too, sitting there at the wedding, and holding her man there. So the biggest moment, though, I think, that really leaves you on a cliffhanger is when Clay touches Angela's leg when they're talking at our dinner.
the reception.
And so you don't know how to perceive it.
Was that a flirtatious touch? Or
I mean,
was
usually
that...
if you like touch a woman's leg, like
That's
you're
pretty obvious.
You're basically imposing that, like, I like you.
Yeah,
I still
well,
like
I
you.
think he deeply cares for her, and I think that it was the first time they were having a conversation since they broke up.
Oh, wow.
And really needed a face-to-face because Angela was very, very hurt and felt that the breakup was very abrupt. And Clay was just going through a lot. So we see both sides of the story. So we were actually also looking nervous to how it would play out, but also really excited because this conversation needed to be had, and it happened at our wedding. So you're going to see that needed those
They broke up
words
over the phone,
exchanged.
so it's them seeing each other for the first time.
So do you think that they got the closure that they needed?
I don't think so.
No. I mean, there's obviously two sides to this, and I feel like I know both sides, but then also I'm biased because I do love both of them, and so it's like you want to believe both sides, but then again, you're like, there's definitely some stuff missing.
Yeah, you see this, like I will say this, and you'll just have to tune in to see what happens, but you think Clay and Nicole are really, really strong, and then Angela comes in, and you see Clay start to
Well,
question
she must have
that
an effect on
relationship.
him. Yeah. Okay, so what's next? Are you getting to the baby making, or what's happening right now?
So that's a great question.
Yeah.
Obviously, babies are one of those next things that we
Yes.
want, but we made a conscious decision with one another that it's important to cleanse our DNA. And what I mean by that is we've learned, over this last year, especially working on self-development and improving one another personally, individually, that there's a lot of trauma within ourselves that is directly related from the past.
Yeah.
And so what I mean by that
Which
is
it's the past that like brought us together.
right. However, though, we know that there are things within us that we want to make sure that we continue to work on and really move forward with.
Before we have a child, I think it's just so important to take this time so that we don't continue these patterns that like, our parents had and then their parents had, and we just want to like break this cycle and really just be the best we can be.
It's been easier with someone to help you identify that there are things that you just need to work on and improve rather than blaming or come up with excuses. It solely lies within yourself. And if you want to go ahead and work on that and really improve, you have to take full ownership and accept the fact that that is what's taking place. And it's nice to have, like she said, like that mirror right in front of you, because you're able to really not only help yourself, but help the relationship.
I mean, this is something, I feel like there's growth in going through trauma like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
always.
And I feel like you guys have learned from each other and you've helped each other cope.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of forethought, by the way, to make these decisions before you have a child.
Yeah, it is.
know?
And I think, well, that was a big thing because I didn't ever want to get married. Just, I didn't have like that trust.
Yeah.
And so I would say the work we've done, and it's hard. Like when you look down at the past and you have to like own those
It's
things of
tough.
the past, like the truth hurts.
It really does.
But it really sets you free. So I think for us, like the immediate future right now is just, we're continuing to work and develop ourselves and working really hard on our businesses and getting that set up and automated so that, maybe in the beginning of the year, then we want to start planning a family. And we also want to move and then get that other dog then.
Yeah.
You guys have it all planned out. You're such a good couple.
But we're also like
You really
surrendering
are
it,
such a good
like
couple.
trying
You
not
just-
to control it.
You seem to be just in sync with everything, and that's very important.
Thank you.
And I think we
It
talk
gives
a
it gives
lot.
the rest of us hope. It really does.
Yeah.
Want more extra? Hit the subscribe button and the bell and never miss a video.